So you're new to Genshin, you do a 10 pull on the current banner, and you get 5-star Navia. Now what do you get with Navia besides the president of the Spina de Rosula? Well, Navia is a Claymore-wielding Geo user and has become one of the best for on-field Geo damage, even early game. I'm Kessie, Mango, whatever the hell you want to call me. And because not everybody is AR60 with 36-star Abyss, I decided that I was going to make videos that hopefully anybody can understand. So if you learned something from this video, do be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And with that being said, let's get into this video. Okay, so Navia is a rather interesting character. She's kind of taken the game by storm by being able to do really good damage at basically any level or any adventure rank. So before we go into this domain, I do want to show you the current build with Navia that I am using for this video. In case you are not hitting the same numbers, it might just be that she's at a higher level or has better artifacts. It also gives you a good idea as to what you might be able to shoot for later on. My Navia is definitely not perfectly built or completely built, so I will make comments on that as we go through it. So she is level 80 with 13,500 HP, 2100 attack, elemental mastery 75, which only matters for like the shields. She is 43.8% crit rate over 159.7 crit damage with an energy recharge of 115, and then geo damage bonus is 61.6. For her weapon, I am running a level 80 Serpent Spine, which are what those little yellow swords spinning around her in the overworld. That comes from this. It is not from Navia herself. For artifacts, I am running 2-piece Nighttime Whispers of the Echoing Woods. That is a super long name that they decided to give this thing. And then Archaic. She is C0, and her talents are 166. So, with that being said, let's go into this domain. Alright, so first off, we're going to talk about her normal attacks and her charge attacks. Alright, so first we're going to talk about her normal attacks. I believe it is a 5-hit. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah. And her charge attack is just like a normal Claymore, kind of Beyblade-esque, right? Spinning top, spinning the sword around. Okay, so now we're going to look at her skill. And her skill is going to pull out this Gunbrella, and it is going to shoot shrapnel at the enemies. It does have a tap and a hold. The tap is very simple. It just shoots the Gunbrella, doing Ouija damage as well. That is what that black thing was. The hold simply just lets you aim. Right, that's it. There is a secondary effect to the hold that we'll talk about in just a second. So another thing with Navia is that she has 2 charges on her skills. You can use them back to back. They do have independent cooldowns. So when you use her skill, her normal attacks also gain Geo Infusion. So now you're doing Geo damage with her normal attacks for a few seconds. It's not very long. Now, the Geo Infusion is very important for a very specific thing. So, the way that Navia's playstyle works, when you hit an enemy that has been hit with an element, that is affected by an element, when you hit them with Geo, you will create little shards. Navia collects those shards, or well, any character in your team can collect those shards, and she will give Navia this symbol next to her. It's gonna look kind of like a piece of ammo. There are 3 symbols. You'll have a small symbol, small symbol, small symbol, and then you'll get large symbol, large symbol, large symbol. When you have all 3 of them large, then you can use her skill for the most damage. So we're gonna look at that real quick. So if we get some element application going on, we're going to go to Noel, and we are going to make some of these shards. Oh, Noel just picked one up. That's fine. Okay, those shards right there. So you see now there are these 2 symbols next to Navia. When you collect one, you will get the third. If, let's say, Barbara picks one up, Navia still gets it. Any character in your party can pick it up. So now we're gonna go ahead and get one more. Okay, so if we have full charge, we can either tap or hold her skill to do damage. Now we're gonna get a couple of more on the field. Okay, so you see how there are some shards on the field. If we hold down her skill, she will suck them up, allowing you to aim, suck up more shards, and then shoot to use her skill. So the reason that having that Geo infusion into her normal attacks is really good after you use her skill, it just lets you create more and more shards, which is what we want. So now that we have the Geo infusion, we can hit them and get more shards to make her skill do more damage. We're going to just suck that one up with a hold, and then we're going to shoot the enemy. So now we're going to look at her burst, and her burst does a couple of different things. It is going to rain down cannon geofire onto the enemies, as well as give you the stacks for her skill. Now you notice I'm not collecting any shields, I'm not collecting any shards, but it is still giving her the stacks for her skill independent of the shards. So you can use her burst to gain charges on your skill, which is how it's supposed to be used. It's really, really good at allowing you to get your skill stacks up. Now her skill is how she does most of her damage. So you are going to need to get the shards, and you'll see even if you collect them without her on the field, it should show you that you've collected them on the side. Oh, Noelle just died. Whoopsie. So now we have full stacks, and we're just going to shotgun them, basically. And you'll see I'm going to suck up that one right there to get another stack on there. So her whole playstyle, the whole way that her team works is creating these shards so that way you can give her the max amount of damage with her skill. That is how her playstyle works. I guess we kind of already talked about the beginner party stuff, but we'll actually talk about that. I had to show it to show what her skill and her burst do. I had to go ahead and show making the shards and stuff. But that is a beginner-friendly party that you could do, but we'll actually get into that a little bit later on. Now, Navia's burst is off-field. You can hit her burst, swap her off the field, and it will still be raining down the cannon fire for you to introduce other elements, right, to create more shards. Her skill, she has to be on the field. You can literally swap her on, hit the skill, swap it off if you want to do that. Or you can swap on, use her skill, and then cause more Geo Crystals once you have the Geo Infusion and her normal attacks to then just use her skill again, right? That's how she works. But she has to have other elements in her party to be able to create the shards. So for a beginner artifact set, I'm going to say that you're going to want to run Gambler. So the 4-piece Gambler is going to give you a 20% increase in skill damage, as well as defeating an enemy will let you reset the cooldown. Now, that could be nice, but if you don't have a 4-piece or if you want a different option, then run like a 2-piece Gambler and then 2-piece anything for attack percent, like Resolution. That is going to be what you want to do. Now, for the artifacts, you're going to be wanting to run attack percent on your sands if possible. On your goblet, if you have a Geo Damage goblet, you're going to want to run that. If you do not have a Geo Damage goblet, doing an attack percent is another good thing right here. You can do that, especially early on, especially if you're trying to get the specific sets like Martial Artist or Resolution. For Circlet, either crit rate or crit damage, or again, just attack percent if it helps you get the set bonuses. You're not going to be investing too much into your early artifacts, but that is the preferred main stats to try and get. And then for substats, if you have options, you're going to want to run crit damage, crit rate, attack percent, energy recharge if you can get it. I'm trying to see. So we got this one that is... And naturally, I do not have like a perfect one for Navia right now. So like right here, crit rate, attack percent. If this had crit damage in it too, and then energy recharge, that'd be like perfect. But again, early game, you're not going to be allowed to be picky yet. So just try and get some with the best substats, but you really want the main stat. You want to focus on the main stat, not the substats. Now for weapons. And I feel like weapons is one of the harder ones to do on this. So for a 3-star weapon, The Debate Club might be good because it does get up attack percent, which is great. So the passive is after using an elemental skill, normal and charge attacks will deal additional damage equal to her attack, 60% of her attack. So this can be good for one, getting up her attack percent, which is what you want to build on her. But if you're going to be using her on field, this can be a really, really good option. Fair's Shadow, she's not really going to be able to use that one. Blood Tainted Greatsword, she's not going to use that one. She doesn't want Elemental Mastery. Its passive can be okay, but honestly, you would want something with attack percent right here. Skyrider Greatsword could do okay. It's not going to help you do more damage on her skill, really. Like, it's... I mean, you could use it to buff your attack with its passive, but... honestly, I would probably say Debate Club's going to be better than Skyrider Greatsword. One good option is Prototype Archaic. This is a craftable claymore that you are given the recipe to when you start the game. You can craft this weapon very, very early into the game. It does get up attack percent, which is phenomenal. And then on hit or charge attacks have a 50% chance to deal an additional 240% attack damage to an opponent within a small AoE. While this does not help her do more damage with her skill, this does get up her attack percent and it just helps her do more damage overall. So this can be a really, really good option. Another option would be this event weapon that you could have gotten during the most recent event. If you were like AR20 or above, then you can get the teleport point to Fontaine, and that would allow you to get this event weapon. This can be really good for her too because it gets up your attack percent, as well as giving you some energy recharge just to have her burst more ready. Another good weapon, if you have the craftable weapons in Fontaine, which are not difficult to get once you get to Fontaine, would be Tidal Shadow. It is attack percent for the secondary stat, and then its passive, after the wielder is healed, attack is increased by 24% more. So if you have a healer on your team like Barbara, like we were using earlier, then this can also just get up your attack even more. So this is another really good weapon for her. So we're going to do this domain again, but specifically we're going to be talking about a beginner-friendly party. I know I kind of mentioned it and already talked about it earlier, but this is going to go a little bit deeper. So with Navia being Geo, you do want a second Geo character. Now, if you did the beginner event wish banner, you were guaranteed Noelle, who does give a little bit of healing with her burst. She does give a shield, but you're going to have plenty of shields going around. Another option would be Geo Traveler. My Traveler is currently set up for Dendro, but that would be another option if you were early game and you went into Leeway, resonated with a statue, and got Geo. That can be really good as well. Now, the other thing that you want are two off-field elemental characters, right? So we have Xiangling, who you get for free from clearing floor 3 of the Abyss, and then Barbara, who you get for free upon clearing the Mondstadt Archon quest. So we have healing here if you wanted to use that Fontaine craftable weapon. We have some healing here if you wanted to use the Fontaine craftable weapon. And then we have two off-field elemental applicators. Xiangling can do her own damage through Vaporize, but it can also allow for a lot of shards to be made. Now, not only do we want Noelle in there just to help create some shards, but with Elemental Resonance, with two Geo characters, we are going to get damage dealt is increased by 15% if they have a shield on them. Dealing damage to enemies will decrease their Geo resistance by 20% for 15 seconds. So this is going to increase Navia's Geo damage as well as just damage overall. So this is another reason why we want two Geo characters in here specifically. All right, so starting this off, we are going to go on ahead and drop Navia's Burst to start getting some shards going. We're going to go to Xiangling, drop Guoba. We're just going to be applying elements, trying to get as many shards as we can, so that way we can go over to Navia and use her skill. We want to get more crystal shards with the Geo infusion, which is great. Now we're going to go to Xiangling, and we're going to use her burst. We're going to go to Noelle, and we're going to try and get as many shards as we can. Got all of them, and we're going to hit them. Got Navia's burst ready again, so we're going to hit that burst again to just keep getting Navia the charges, the stacks for her skill. That is what we want. We should have Barbara's skill ready to go, so we can use that. We can drop Globa again. We can use Noelle, to create more shards, which is great. So that way Navia can just come in, use her skill, hit multiple enemies, use her burst as soon as it's ready, so that way we can just keep getting those charges up. Drop Globa again. We don't quite have her skill ready yet, but that's fine. There we go. Drop Globa again. Get one more energy for her burst. There we go. Now we can just create the shards using Ling. Drop her burst again. We can use her burst a lot. And we're just going to go in and we're going to use her skill to try and kill this thing as soon as I can, because I hate those. There we go. Collect more. I just wasted that. Don't do that. And of course the last one's going to be annoying. But you see what we're doing there. So we are using Barbara and Ling's off-field elemental application to get Noelle and Navia to produce the shards. To power up Navia's skill, we are going to use her burst every single time that it is ready to go, so that way we can just use her skill as much as possible. This is where having a 4-piece martial artist might be good, because once you beat an enemy, you're going to get the skill reset, meaning that you can just use her skill more often. Now, I believe that with martial artists, it can only happen like once every 15 seconds, something like that. So it would get you a 3rd charge in there, essentially. Now, that is going to be it for this video. If you do have any questions, leave them in the comments. Do come check out the Discord. We like to chat with people, help people out. It's just a lot of fun in there. And I will see you in the next video.